I've owned the Røde NT2-A for quite a while now. I've used it mostly as a bit of a workhorse, throwing it around to different sources, and it's a pretty usable mic. A big problem with it though is that it can have quite a harsh top end, especially on vocal sibilants. So I thought I'd try replacing the stock Capsule with a Mic Parts RK-47 capsule that you can find a link for in the description below. To do this, we first need to unscrew the bottom cap and then remove the outer sleeve of the mic. This exposes the circuit board where you can see the contacts for both sides of the capsule. We're only going to remove the far left and the right wires, but it's important to make a note of which colour goes to which contact, so you can connect up the correct side of the capsule to the correct contact later. With a bit of gentle upward pulling force, you can touch the soldering iron to the contact and the wire comes right off. Just be careful and have a steady hand. Don't drink loads of coffee like I did and be shaking all over the place. Apologies if you hear any dogs barking or anything like that. I'm recording this in a loft for some reason. I think I just can't be bothered to go into a soundproof room. Anyway, remember to make a note of which wire is which. You don't want to be having the front capsule as the back and the back as the front. Next, remove the screws that hold on the head basket. This gives you access to the capsule. And that's probably a good time to put your gloves on so that you're not going to accidentally grease up or mark the faces of the capsules if you accidentally touch them. You can now remove the two screws that hold the capsule to the mount. This screw also holds on the black wire that's connected to that middle contact that we saw earlier. Don't worry about this black wire for now, just leave it to hang out. You can remove the second screw, which completely frees up the capsule from the mount, and you can just gently pull that capsule away along with its wires. You want to remove the spacer next. It actually has a screw that's underneath the foam that goes into the top of the capsule, so the easiest way I found was just to twist it anti-clockwise, which unscrews the screw out of the capsule. You can remove that screw now by just moving the foam aside slightly and getting in there with a screwdriver. Now we're going to remove the original capsule mount. Just get something thin, I used the tweezers here. Run them around between the plastic and the rubber grommet. This should break any tiny amounts of glue that might be holding it in place, and allow you to remove the original mount very easily. Simply pull the mount out of the grommets. Now we're ready to install the new capsule and mount. So it's worth laying everything out that you need. We've got the two new screws that mount the capsule, and the smaller screw is to reattach that black wire that we left earlier. That blue wire comes with the new bracket, and it's just a replacement if you needed one for that black wire that we've already left on. Check the new bracket just in case there's any bits of loose or sharp plastic, because we don't want anything possibly hurting our new capsule. It's very important to be careful at this point. Do not touch the middle of the capsule, only support it by its edges. To remove it from its box, the best way is to gently tap it from the back. It's held in with some plastic tubing, but if you put your fingers just around the very edges and then tap it, it will fall out very easily. There we go. As you can see, I'm only handling it from the very edges, being very careful not to touch anything onto the middle. There's 3 holes on the new capsule, 2 to attach it to the mount, and 1 to screw on that black wire from earlier. So first of all, orientate it properly, with the wires coming off the edge of the mount, and screw in the 2 screws that hold it on. Simply inserting the mount back into the rubber grommets is enough to hold it in place securely. It's got just enough wiggle to absorb any movement, but enough rigidity to stop it from flopping around. You can then reattach the black wire to the outer section of the capsule on that third hole. Now that you've got your new mounted capsule in place, you can carefully insert the new wires through the rubber and out into the housing. It's worth taking some time to make sure that there's no loose wires flying about around the capsule. Oh, and make note of which wire is which, so you reattach them correctly to the correct contacts. Get some double-sided sticky tape and use it to reattach the spacer on the top of the capsule. At this point, I just used a air sploosher? I'm not really sure what you call it, just to make sure there's no excess dust in there. But then you can put back on the top basket and reattach it with the screws. It's worth pre-tinning the ends of the wires so that you can more easily just press the soldering iron against them and resolder them to the contacts. Of course, just make sure that you're soldering the correct wires to the correct contacts. Whoa, that's some real shaking now. Careful. Phew. Okay. A bit more air scoucherizing. And you can put the housing sleeve back on. Followed by the bottom cap. How are you struggling with that? It's just a thread. Ah, that's better. Okay. Ugh. I think I was hungover actually. Okay. Congratulations. You've replaced your capsule. I kind of did this unplanned in a day, but I wanted to get some side-by-side comparisons anyway. So next up I've got very talented singer-songwriter George Boomsma, just playing some excerpts from some of his songs. You can find links to him in the description below, and I'll link him at the end as well. I hope it's helpful.
with two tea lights shining, one for you, one for me. We both make this heaven for only us to see. And as we watch the world go by in our city of gold, we huddle close together to save from the cold. With two tea lights shining, one for you, one for me. We both make this heaven for only us to see. And as we watch the world go by in our city of gold, we huddle close together to save from the cold. Brave in the stale air, you just sit right there, grim and spare as a dream of walking alone through mountains and fields galore. Brave in the stale air, you just sit right there, grim and spare as a dream of walking alone through mountains and fields galore.
So I hope this video has been somewhat useful for you. I've definitely found that the mic is more usable now with voices. In fact, I've used it as the voiceover mic for this video. I'll leave you with it in a mixed context, using it as the main vocal mic in this live recording featuring the fantastic Tom Joshua. Enjoy.
I was born to imagine things greater than myself. I grew up so overwhelmed. And I won't be enough for you till I full up myself. So take me